Hey guys, I'm Mike West, and today I wanted to do a video about podcasting and how easy it is to get into it. I myself do the Into the Van podcast, where I sit down with country musicians, artists, poets, performers, managers, bookers, whoever it is that I find interesting, whoever I think has an insight that needs to be explored and, platformed. I really want to sit down with people that, give a shit about what they do and are passionate, and it's something that I can then, learn from and have these conversations where, I get an insight into the music industry, get an insight into someone's songwriting process, whatever it is. I'm really happy that I started Into the Van. We're a year in. I've got like 30 episodes under my belt now, and I'm super happy with it, and I don't want to stop. And I've had a few people, message me about how to get started in podcasting. I wanted to do this video to show that it is easy, it is accessible, and anyone with an internet connection can really do it. So I wanted to give you a rundown of the rig I use and then the software, and just go into how you can start a podcast. And this isn't breaking the bank. I'm not, I can't afford the best things, the best microphones, the best software. I use a lot of free software. I use some microphones that I've had for years, and I've also picked up some new stuff. So let's go through how to start a podcast. First thing you need to do is pick your theme, your topic, what you want to talk about, what you're passionate about. Because if you're passionate about it, other people will be as well. I always, no matter what it is, if someone gives a shit about stamp collecting and tells me about stamps, I'm automatically interested and passionate about what they are, because if someone speaks with conviction and with interest, you can't help but relate to that. You can't help but become passionate with it as well. So pick your topic, pick your name. Once you've got that, you can start looking at the hardware, which is step 2. My rig is pretty basic. It's 2 microphones, an interface, and that's it. With the pandemic, I've had to move to online through Zoom and Skype. But, a lot of the beginning podcasts were face-to-face. So my rig is for the microphone I'm using right now is a Rode NT1A microphone. Now, this is the most expensive piece of gear that I have. I've had this microphone since I was 18, maybe. This is a really fucking old microphone, but it's never let me down. Rode are a really good build. And this is about 100 plus. I think maybe £115 online at the moment, but I swear by this microphone. It's my favorite microphone I use. I use it for all my Zoom calls, Skype, whatever it is, all the interviews. I use it for my recording. And if you don't have the budget for that, which is understandable, my microphone that I also use is the Neewer NW700. This is the microphone I use. If you listen to my podcast, if I do face-to-face interviews, I give the guest the Rode and I use the Neewer, and I've not found really any differences in quality. I've never had any issues with it. And the Neewer microphone, the NW700, is £20. It's £20 online, and I can't fault it. Once you've got that microphone, you're good to go. Really, you can get USB microphones, and that's, I think, the daunting thing for podcasting is you see the certain microphones that are £300, £400, and you can get those, and you are paying for, they are quality microphones. There's a reason they are that expensive. But if you want to just get podcasting and get going, you can go out, buy a £20 microphone. As long as you're putting out quality content and it's edited well and it's recorded well, people will forgive you not having a Shure microphone or whatever it is. So they're the 2 microphones I use, the Rode NT1A and the Neewer NW700. After that, the interface I use is a Behringer UMC 204 HD, and I only bought that because I was doing these podcasts face to face, and it's got 2 inputs for microphones, so it's super easy to use, plug in and play to your laptop or your computer, and that was around £80. That interface is super easy to use. Audacity picks it up, Zoom picks it up, whatever you're using, it'll integrate to. And I always think Behringer is the type of kit that doesn't break the bank. It's reliable and it lasts for ages. I'm super happy with my UMC, and it's, again, £80, which for an interface is killer. After that, I have my webcam, which, as long as it's 1080p, you can kind of go nuts with whatever you want it to do. This was about £20 online, and I only really use it because I'm doing a lot of podcasts through Zoom and Skype now, so I have to have it. Everything else was through face-to-face, so I wouldn't need it then, but this has been a lifesaver, and it's, again, £20, super easy to use. The computer picks it up, and then I just edit it all down. Obviously, for my podcast, it's only audio. I don't use video, so I don't need the video file for it. So this is just to talk to people. After that, we have the Boom microphone stands. I have these just because I could connect them to where I was in the van. I always had them on the sunroof, and from the sunroof they reach down, and they're super easy to use. They're like £10, and you can get them online. They're super easy to use. They're super sturdy. They're really great quality, and yeah, you can pick up any of these on eBay, wherever you want to get them, less than £10 for a good microphone stand. Step 3, the software you're going to be using. The main thing I think for software is obviously what you're recording with, what you're using to record the podcast. And what I'm recording with right now and what I use for all my podcasts is Audacity. Audacity is a free software that, is pretty, infallible. It's not got the tech and the features of Pro Tools or Cubase or whatever, but for recording a podcast, for getting your basic levels, for getting your basic editing, I really can't fault this program, and it's free. You can download it straight away. I've never had any issues with the interfaces, with the microphones. Audacity is a really killer free program that you can use. After Audacity, to actually record the podcast, obviously everything's done through digital online meetings at the moment. I'm either using Zoom or Skype. After Audacity, if you're recording your podcast through, digital means, if you're meeting them on Zoom or Skype, you can record through them. Skype has a record function. Zoom, I prefer their record function just because they have a bit more detail and a bit more, it's a bit more customizable for your needs. If you are on Zoom and you want to record a podcast, you can go to settings, go to record, and then you can tick record a separate audio file for each participant who speaks, which is super handy. Then you drop it into Audacity and you have the 2 audio files that you can tweak their levels independently, and make sure that if you do want to do videos, you can have optimizing for third-party editing ticked as well in the settings. Once they're ticked, you're good to go. Make sure you hit record before you're talking, and then that's your podcast basically done and in the bag. From there, you need a host or a website that will put your podcast on. I personally use Podbean because it was the first podcast app that I really found, and that was what I was using to listen to all the podcasts that I'm a fan of. From there, I was looking at what their plans, and they have different tiers for different price ranges for different styles, what you need out of your podcast, what you need for hosting in terms of memory or capacity. So I really like Podbean. As a fan of podcasts, it's what I always used to listen to, and as a podcast host, I've never found any problems with them. I'm now an affiliate for Podbean, where if you go to www.podbean.com/intothevan, you can sign up through that link. You'll get a free month and I'll get a free month. And, I really enjoy Podbean. They're super helpful. If there's ever been any issues, they've been quick to reply back to me. But that's been minor things about, images not loading or just the incorrect image. That's through my own fault, and I just need to quickly replace. They've been super helpful. And yeah, I really enjoy what Podbean do. Obviously, there's different podcast sites and podcast hosts. You can find the right one for you. And once you've got that down, you're pretty much good to go. You're ready to just start hosting your podcasts. Another software that I really like to use that is super helpful to make sure that your podcast images, your promotional materials, your marketing materials are all, as professional and clean as can be, is I always like to use Canva, which is just an online, browser website that you can just go through, upload images, edit them, create different text, and it's just a super helpful, fun website that you can just create a load of content from. Once you have uploaded your podcast to the host, you have an RSS feed. And once you have that, you can then link it to, Spotify, Amazon, Apple, Stitcher, Acast, whatever you want to get your podcast on. Podbean or your host will be able to help you put that podcast onto it. And then once you've done that and it's on, all you need to do is promote the fuck out of it. And that's really all you can really do for a podcast is, the software, the hardware, and the passion to do it. Try and stick to a reliable and consistent schedule for posting. Into the Van goes out every 2 weeks. I've not missed an episode so far. And yeah, all you need to do is make sure that you're having fun with it. So that's just a quick little video from me about how I got started in this and what my setup is, what my rig is. And, I'm not breaking the bank. I'm not killing myself or bankrupting myself to get this done. And I just wanted to share it with you guys. So, if you want to set up your own podcast and you want to go to podbean.com/intothevan and sign up for a host there, you get a free month and I get a free month. But yeah, I just want you to create a podcast. I always think especially in the music world, people have so many interesting opinions and perspectives that come through in their songwriting. Why wouldn't they want to, you know, create another thing that they can reach other people with? And that's where podcasts come in. I really enjoy this medium. I've had some great talks with it, and I think, you know, if you start a podcast, you will too. So yeah, I've been Mike West. Go listen to Into the Van, and yeah, start your own podcast, guys. Peace.